Hello, 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 hello. Is anybody there? Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to talk about Tesla, particularly the Q3 deliveries and production. We're going to start with that. We're going to talk about AI Day, my reflections on AI Day. We're going to talk about some other stuff. Before we get into everything else, so I just want to mention I'm going to be doing a second live stream on the Daily Lie, the Locals platform. It's a free speech platform. And in particular on that, I'm going to talk about 3 different critics of AI Day and break down what they said. It's a really good fit for the Daily Lie. The Daily Lie is often political, but it's about media misinformation, mainstream media, government misinformation generally. So this is sort of like on that hook that competitors or wannabe competitors to Tesla are talking about, are lying or misleading the public about what just happened at AI Day. So let's get into it. People want me to say this, so are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so here's the bad news first. Let's do the bad news first. Q3 deliveries are in. These numbers are not good in my impression. The production numbers aren't so bad. Total of 365,000, almost 366,000 vehicles produced. That's not terrible, but it's below what a lot of us thought was going to happen. Even Troy Teslike had raised his numbers up to, I think, 372,000. The delivery number is low for what Wall Street estimates were, 343,000. I think what happened was towards the end of the quarter, and there's a description of it here. Historically, our delivery volumes have skewed toward the end of each quarter. It's become increasingly challenging to secure vehicle transportation capacity, so they began transitioning to a more even regional mix of vehicle builds each week, which led to an increase in cars in transit at the end of the quarter. So there's cars that ordinarily would have been delivered in like sort of a panic rush situation. Tesla's decided to go away from delivering in a panic or rush situation and just deliver in a more organic way, which means your quarterly delivery numbers aren't as high as they might be if you had really, pushed everything out of the way and spent like crazy money to get every vehicle delivered that you could. And as a result, they delivered 22,000 vehicles fewer than they produced. And I believe they had a backlog of vehicles waiting for delivery. I think if you look at the previous 2 quarters, their production was above deliveries again. So, hi, Alexandra. Thank you. So my expectation from these numbers is the stock's going to tank on Monday. I mean, it's not like Wall Street's going to watch AI Day and say, well, their deliveries weren't as high as we thought, but they got this cool robot coming. I expect the stock to tank on Monday. I expect to be buying stock. I'm going to be selling other stocks and buying stock on Monday. It might go below 250. I don't like making short-term stock price predictions, and you never know with Wall Street. Maybe, crazier things have happened. Maybe the stock will go up, but this is not a beat. This is an earnings miss. And the expectation would be, the headlines are today. It's not the headlines tomorrow. It's the headlines today. Tesla misses big in Q3. Reuters already has that headline, and CNBC, I think, maybe has that headline. They're already calling it a miss. So is it really a miss? Well, if you're going by production, Tesla is not demand limited, they're production limited. So the production numbers aren't terrible. I was hoping for 380, 372 was Troy Teslike's number. So, that's tough. I mean, there was a rumor that Q4 is going to be big. There is some positive news. I just wanted to mention this really quick. The positive news that Giga Berlin is up to 2,000 vehicles a week. And you can expect that Giga Texas will be up to 2,000 vehicles a week fairly quickly. So the ramp is going at Giga Texas and Giga Berlin, and that makes a big deal. And as that goes, I think they're still guiding to a 2 million vehicle run rate at the end of the year. So if you're looking short term, this is a hit. And I'm expecting the stock to take a dump. I'm expecting the stock to dive on Monday. And look, I'm not selling any shares. This is going to be a shopportunity. This is going to be an opportunity to buy Tesla stock at a discount. So I got some Amazon stock and some Google stock, and I'm planning to sell it on Monday and buy Tesla. That's, assuming I can make it all work and everything happens, that's my plan. So there was a rumor that, I think Dave Lee talked about this, that he was talking to investor relations, and they didn't quite deny the rumor, but it sounded like they were denying the rumor that they're expecting to produce 495,000 Model 3s and Model Ys in Q4. I don't buy that rumor. I don't think they affirmed that rumor, but they did talk about being at a 2 million vehicle run rate by the end of the year. And my take on the 2 million vehicle run rate, this is this is why you're looking long-term, medium-term, long-term, what's going to be coming in the next year or so. if they are at a 2 million run rate at the end of this year and they're growing 50%, they should be at a 3 million run rate at the end of 2023. And in a linear sense, that would mean 2.5 million vehicles delivered in 2023. That's feeling optimistic right now. And I guess it's not really linear, it's really exponential. So it's a curve. So 2.4 million, I think we're looking at 2.4 million in 2023. We're going to see. Alexandra says 2 million run rate, meaning a month up in December of 167K is difficult now for Q4. I don't know. I don't know if it's that difficult. I think we're going to see. I think as Giga Texas and Giga Berlin ramp, as Fremont is continuing to grow production, there was a story about Fremont growing production, and now it's kind of like what happened to the Fremont numbers. I thought the Fremont numbers were going to push this up, and I think there's just a bunch of things that came into play, and we're probably going to hear about it more. I think the earnings call is going to be October 19th. So I just didn't want to sugarcoat it for you. These numbers are not good. Right, this is not what we were hoping for. I was hoping for 380 production and maybe 370 deliveries or 365 deliveries. We definitely fell short of that. So from a short-term perspective, expect the stock to fall. It could be a bloodbath. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to, it's still, I think these are still record numbers by far. In other words, Tesla is growing like crazy, but you're just getting, this is a hit. So yeah, if you're a long-term investor and you have free capital that you can sell something and buy, I own some Amazon stock and some Google stock, and I'm expecting to sell that Monday morning and start buying Tesla stock. I think the stock's going to dive at the beginning of the day, and I'm going to jump on it. I'm going to put it in my calendar to get ready to buy because, the growth is still there. The future of everything else is still there. But there's a lot of positives in the long term, and this is one of those things. I've never been a short-term guy. I've always been a long-term guy. It's going to be classified as bad, right? Because it's a miss on the analyst estimates, but this is still very substantial growth. What did Aaron said? Increases of 11% and nearly 40% compared to last quarter and this quarter last year. Yeah, and it's a record quarter. I think the record before was 300 and some thousand, 306,000 maybe. So this is up a big jump from any previous quarter. So, there's no nice way of putting that one. It's not good. But again, positive news. Giga Berlin is ramping. Texas is ramping. Another little detail about Tesla before I dive into some other stuff. Elon talked about Cybertruck being waterproof and being able to get from Starbase to South Padre Island. I don't know if he's kidding. That sounds like he's joking. It doesn't seem like that would be real. I've been on South Padre Island looking across the channel. That would be one heck of a crossing for a car. And of course, the critics are out there saying, no, you don't do that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sure. So, why do I have two of those? All right. So let's turn to SpaceX news for a second. I've got a bunch of questions from Patreon supporters and local supporters. So I'm going to address those, and then we'll do Q&A with the chat. So the Crew 5 launch is Wednesday at noon Eastern time. I am planning to watch that from somewhere near Jetty Park, maybe from Cherry Down State Park. Is it Cherry Down State Park or just Cherry Down Park? I'm planning on watching this launch from somewhere like that Wednesday. Not locked in, but pretty sure. And then this is that's the SpaceX image, and this Elon is apparently here. Apparently, maybe Elon is flying to be here. He's going to be here for the Crew 5 launch. So that's going to be cool. I have a feeling I'm not going to get to meet him, but it would be cool. Hey, Elon, if you want to hang out, let me know. Seems unlikely. Maybe he'll be at a supercharger. And then other SpaceX news, the NASA appears to have made some kind of agreement with SpaceX to use a SpaceX rocket to extend, move Hubble's telescope out to a further out orbit so that the telescope lasts longer. So I don't know what the pricing is, how much revenue that's going to generate, but it appears that SpaceX is going to help keep Hubble going. Keep Hubble alive. We're going to keep Hubble alive. Yeah, Mark Plot says, what about the boring loop tunnel to South Padre? That's what I said when I saw that. All right. I don't remember seeing any Neuralink news. Apparently, Neuralink's going to have a Halloween event where they're going to present their latest progress. And, Ryan Tanaka and I talked about that. Ryan Tanaka runs the Neuropod channel. I think they're going to announce the first human trial. Ryan thinks it might be something else. And then Boring Company. I don't think I saw any particular Boring Company news this week. There's a whole lot happening with Cybertruck. I wanted to talk about AI Day. Sorry, lost track. Before I did SpaceX, let me dive into AI Day. So I watched AI Day again. When I watched it live, I must have been tired. Some of it was really hard to understand. Some of it really still is really hard to understand. There's this one part where they were talking about how the inference chip in the car, the way the AI works is the chip in the car that takes in the photons from the cameras, sends that information into the FSD computer and the inference chip, and the inference chip processes that, and that processing is used to decide how to drive the car. It senses the world. It develops what's called an occupancy network. Basically identifies all, what spaces are occupied or likely to be occupied. Anything that's occupied or likely to be occupied, the car shouldn't drive through, right? That's the first time I understood occupancy network. I heard them talking about occupancy network. It's the first time I understood it, but they talked about how it works on the chip. And that one was over my head. There were a few things that were over my head. Some of it was over my head the first, when I was watching it live. I watched it again, and some of it was still over my head, but I think I got more of it. So first thing, let's talk about bot. And like I said, I'm on the Daily Lie. On the Daily Lie, I'm after this video at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, which is an hour and 20 minutes from now. I'm going to go over some critics of bot and AI Day. I'm going to go over what they said as a separate thing. You can watch videos and read content on the Daily Life for free. Some of the content is for paying supporters only. And if you want to comment in the chat or comment on the post, you have to be a paying supporter in order to do that. So please consider watching it, and please consider supporting me on the Daily Lie. And by the way, I'm wearing the Insanely Gigantic t-shirt today. ElonBits.com for the shirts. Unfortunately, the deliveries in production were not insanely gigantic. I think what happened at AI Day was insanely gigantic. Bot itself is early. It was impressive that they were able to get an early prototype to walk on stage and make some gestures. I don't know how much of that is pre-programmed. I don't know whether you can pre-program it. I thought the explanations, and then they had the second bot, which is not quite ready to walk yet. It's that's the one that's custom built with custom parts. So I was impressed, in particular with the presentations, both the presentations about how they're doing full self-driving and the presentations about how they're doing bot. They hacked this together in like 8 months. The new bot, I think, has been only like 3 months that they're working on. So very early days. I was pretty impressed with what I saw. I mean, my first thought when I saw the bot walk out on stage was, wow. And I realized that bots walking is not new. I'm not saying that that's a new thing. Robots walking. But when they dove into the presentations and they talked about how they're training the bot, how the bot is using the FSD system, the Tesla Vision system to perceive the world, and they had video from the bot's cameras showing, the space in front of it, how it's viewing its space, and how it's developing an occupancy network, and it's able to identify objects. This is some of the stuff I'm going to talk about in the Daily Lie later. There's critics saying it's not using intelligence, and it was very clear what they're doing. Really cool the way Elon set this up and the team set this up, where there were a whole bunch of different engineers presenting different aspects of bot and then of AI of the FSD. So I think the occupancy network was special. I think that it was also interesting. I thought they were going to talk about some other things like hardware 4 or, like I said, hardware 5. I thought they might talk about Cybertruck. They didn't really talk about anything but bot and FSD, and that was interesting in and of itself. I think a lot of people were hoping for. That's one of those things, we get our hopes up. We get excited about different things that might happen at a Tesla event, and then it's what it is. And we probably shouldn't get carried away with that stuff, but we do. So when I look at the presentation on what they're doing in FSD, it gave me a lot of hope that this deployment of the occupancy network, which I think is a new thing, they were describing how they were approaching things a certain way, and they were approaching lanes. They did a lot on lanes, which I will say, lane behavior is one of the biggest problems I'm experiencing with my FSD beta car, with both of my FSD beta cars when I drive the other one as well. Lane behavior is still a struggle. I think they're making progress on getting lane behavior to work. That's the impression I got, was that's something they're working on right now, and they're making progress on it. The occupancy network is fairly new, so they're working on that. There were a couple of specific mentions of raw photon counts. So what raw photon counts do is normally a digital camera is videoing something or taking pictures of something, and there's what's called an image signal processing feature within the camera, or sometimes outside the camera, that processes the data that comes in and makes it viewable to the human eye, makes it look good for us. The car doesn't need that, and using that image signal processing step costs time and makes the car slower to react. And so they took out the image signal processing, and they're going straight raw photon counts directly into the FSD inference chip to process and create the occupancy network and do the lanes and everything else. And that's a big jump in making the computer work faster. Some of the other things that were striking were how quickly it's able to, I think they said they regenerate the occupancy network every 10 milliseconds, which is 100 times a second. That's fantastic. The planner is doing a new plan every 50 milliseconds, which is 20 times a second the car is deciding how it's going to navigate, where it needs to go. I think that they're probably going to try to improve that. They want to get that. They probably want to get, because Elon has talked about improving the frame rate, and improving the frame rate doesn't do that much for you if you don't also improve the decision-making speed. I think that's going to be a big deal. So really impressed with the team. Elon talks about the Tesla team a lot. I'm really impressed with what I saw. I saw a lot of fairly young engineers, very bright, describing what they're doing, and some of it was comprehensible, and some of it was like, wow, that's just way too over the top. I did not understand that. So and Dojo was really good. I thought what they explained about Dojo, I think I understood Dojo. The fact that they're able to do as much with one Dojo tile as they're able to, was it a one Dojo tile or one Dojo rack? They're able to do as much as 6 GPU cabinets at the cost of one GPU cabinet. So they're going to be able to do AI training supercomputing much faster than the current GPU setup at lower cost. Apparently using a lot of electricity, but maybe using less electricity. I'll answer questions later in the video. So that's really promising. And then if you watch to the end of the Dojo presentation, it appears that they're already working on the next generation of Dojo, and it's going to be 10 times faster, which the current generation of Dojo, they expect to be 3 to 4 times faster than the GPUs they're currently using. So if it's 10 times faster than that, we're talking about a 30 to 40x improvement on AI training, and that's going to be massive for improving FSD, self-driving, robotaxis in the future, making bot work better, and ultimately there's other uses for AI training, so there will be other AI training opportunities that will be sort of like an Amazon Web Services cloud-based service that Tesla may be able to offer. All right. So that was my reflections on AI Day. Again, I just want to mention really quick, I'll be talking about criticism of AI Day, the 3 different prominent people with their extensive criticisms of AI Day, like going through that bit by bit. I'm going to do that on the Daily Live. I'm probably going to record that and put it on YouTube later, but like an edited version later, because the live versions, as you can see, are rough. The live videos are kind of, I'm inconsistent in how I perform in my live videos. My edited videos tend to be more to the point. But anyway, if you want to participate in that, please check out, please come on warrenredlich.locals.com at 2:30 Eastern, and we're going to go into that. All right, so I want to get into Q&A. We're starting with, I got to fix that. Okay, so this is from the Locals platform. I let my supporters on Locals and on Patreon and YouTube community channel members submit questions in advance of the live streams. And then I go through those questions first, and then we address the chat later. So this is Jim Manley, engineer Jim. Jim and I email back and forth. Jim gets mad at me a lot, but he still loves my channel. We still engage a lot, and we've talked about doing some things together. He may come on my channel to talk about some stuff later. He said it was a big mistake to show Tesla bots to the public so visually metallic, as it reinforces strong actual fears of Terminator, Skynet, etc. I'm happy to say so far I haven't seen that reaction from the general public or the media. So far, the media is like mocking it as silly and not a genuine effort, rather than describing it as a threat to humanity. Jim is a robotics and other kinds of engineer and fully understand why internal prototypes look that way. But he thought the AI day Lycra body costume and CGI renderings are much more appropriate to show the public. Okay. Well, I think the problem is they're trying to make a minimally, a basically functional unit that will operate in the factories, and it's not going to be unleashed on the public yet. And probably the next generation bot will be more visually friendly in that sense. Labor unions and their political allies are going to make opposition to FSD look like a celebration of it. Well, labor unions aren't going to be in Tesla factories, so I'm not too concerned about what labor unions think of this. Media opposition will celebrate, and Media Machine's going to start cranking up the Luddite fear factor. Yeah, I mean, look, the media is going to do whatever they're going to do, and we can't control that. Ironically, the production Tesla bots will be largely made of tough, high-strength composites that will have no intrinsic metallic visual attributes. I mean, it's a good point, Jim. I think you're making a good point. Let's see if I can find that window now. Where is that? Oh, no. What did I do? Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Next we got EYGKLB. You likely won't have time to get into it tomorrow, but sometime in the next few weeks, I'd like to hear your take on Arcimoto and the recent layoff. Mark Frohnmeyer stepping down in what appears to be a company that's spreading itself too thin. Mark Frohnmeyer didn't step down. He stepped down as CEO. He is still Chief Vision Officer. I believe he's still the largest shareholder of the company. I believe he's still playing an important role in the company. Their challenge is, and I visited with the Arcimoto people in Orlando recently, Glenn Cook and some others. What was the other guy's name? Can't find his name. Adrian, maybe? And I'm still excited. I still think Arcimoto has a chance to be successful. The fundamental problem with Arcimoto, which is the same problem with Lucid, is the same problem with Rivian, is they need to manufacture at scale, get their costs down so they can deliver the product at a reasonable price. I don't think Arcimoto went under. I think the other one, what's the solar? There's one solar car that went under and came back. I don't think Arcimoto ever went under. I could be wrong about that. Jim says Arcimotos are way too heavy and hence range limited, partly due to battery weight, but also because of structural requirements for passenger safety. Okay, I think you're a little bit wrong there, Jim. So Arcimotos are 1,300 pounds, and they when I talked to them, they've re-engineered the vehicle, and they're down to 1,100 pounds, which is still, I think, heavier than it should be, but that's better. The range limitation is not bad at all if it's a city car. Might have 100 miles of range. It loses range at speed because it's not that aerodynamic. So when you're driving around 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, it's great. When you get up to 70 miles an hour, which is its maximum speed, it starts to lose range pretty badly. Structural requirements, there's a version of it that doesn't have a shell. There's a roadster version of it, which you have to have a motorcycle license to drive, but for most places. So I don't think the structural requirements for passenger safety are an issue, and it is relatively safe. Makers of pod cars, take note. That's a shot at me, Jim. I love it. Arcimoto is located in Eugene, Oregon. We know what the haze is between the university and the factory is caused by. It explains how anyone come up with the idea of such an overpriced toy. I think that Arcimoto's FUV is fairly useful. I think it's a fairly useful vehicle. I think if you have two vehicles in your family, the Arcimoto is the one you drive around town and do most of your driving in, and it's very efficient, and you use less electricity, and it is a little bit fun. And then you have another car for long distance drives because you're not going to do Arcimoto on a long distance drive. So, and they also improved the steering. They said the low speed steering tends to have, especially near zero speed steering, is steering difficulty. Jim says a fun anything is the first kind of product that's going to suffer when serious macroeconomic effects take hold. No, it actually, if you want to drive around town and you want to save money, I think an Arcimoto is actually, assuming they can manufacture them in scale, get their manufacturing costs down, sell them for the price that they said they're going to sell them for, it's going to be a fairly good economic move for a family to save money to get an Arcimoto for their round town driving. If you're going to the grocery store, if you're taking one kid from point A to point B, once you got to carry more than two people, it's an issue. But a lot of your driving is one person or maybe two people going places, probably more than 80%. And a lot of your driving is around town. And it's just fundamentally a less expensive vehicle and less expensive to operate and lower electricity costs and everything. So I do think there's promise. I think the pod car is going to be better. That's a whole nother question. And Jim says, never invest in a manufacturing company that blows more funding on fancy, shiny new facilities than mass production hardware and especially delivered products. I don't think that's a fair characterization of Arcimoto. I don't think they have fancy, shiny new facilities. They bought an old factory space and they're setting it up for mass production. And I'm hopeful that they're going to get there. I do think it's a high risk that they're going to fail. I can't spin it any nicer than that. There's a high risk they're going to fail if they don't start manufacturing at scale and delivering products to customers in volume profitably. Then they're going to have a problem. But I believe they at least have a path to capital for the short term. And I don't know how long their runway is before they run out of cash. Juke 360 says apparently Elon has a fondness for robots from his childhood days. Now he has the resources to create a fleet of Optimus Robotrons. I don't think that's the idea. I think what happened was that they figured out that the Tesla vision system, the FSD computer, could be applied to humanoid form. James Dalma predicted this on my channel. I think he predicted that they would do a humanoid robot. I don't think it's about a fondness for robots. I think Elon actually believes, and a lot of us believe, that this will actually be useful in a wide variety of circumstances, and it will be a way of changing the economy and making an age of superabundance. If you deploy capital in a way that frees up labor to do more high value things and allows you to produce more efficiently, then you end up with much higher productivity and an economy filled with more abundance. So if the bot does the work that humans don't want to do, cleaning up poop, mopping the floor, taking out the garbage, heavy lifting, whatever, if bots can take care of the stuff that humans don't like doing and it frees up human labor to do more interesting things and higher value added work, then this is good for the economy as a whole. And I don't buy into the people who say this is going to destroy jobs. Humans are very adaptable. We'll find ways to do useful things. It'll be a long time before the bots are doing everything. And even then, we'll find things to do. Chokonen says, FSD, Cybervan plus Tesla bot, goodbye. Goodbye, UPS, FedEx, Amazon drivers. Seems like a relatively easy first application to goal, low-hanging fruit and all. I think it's unclear what the path is going to be to delivering things to the home. James Dalma thinks that you just have a bot on a scooter, and that would be a more efficient way of delivering things than having a vehicle, because the bot weighs, let's say 200 pounds between the bot and the scooter versus 5,000 pounds for a Cybervan. The energy cost of getting the Cybervan to all those locations versus the bot, carrying a few items, the bot might actually make more sense. I'm not sure James is right. I just think we don't know how the future of delivery is going to shake out. I think there's a lot of different ways it could shake out. Chokonen says, how do you think the removable side mirrors on the Cybertruck will be implemented? Interior side screens or? Seems like there's a meaningful efficiency gains to do the same thing on the sexy lineup. Thoughts? Yeah, it's a really good question. My guess would be that there is going to be a camera inside. There's going to be a two-piece section. I need to see my screen here so I can see myself. There's going to be like a two-piece section. So if this is the wall of the car here, if this is the wall of the car here, there's going to be a section sticking out here, and then the mirror will be out here. And you'll be able to take this piece off, and the camera will be inside this. That's a gut hunch as to what would work. Maybe it's just one piece, and the camera's right on the edge of the vehicle, and it protrudes very little, if at all. That would make sense. And could they do that on the 3Y, S, and X? Yeah, I think they could. I think they could do that. I think it's about 5 to 10% efficiency at highway speeds. The gain is, 5 to 10% efficiency. It's a pretty big deal. Dub G says, don't think it would benefit Tesla to remove people in current roles and replace them with bots. Use bot to do jobs that have no manpower to fill the position. That should actually increase productivity. So if people haven't watched me before, I don't, in all humility, the people at Tesla know what they're doing better than I do. I personally think that focusing bot on the factories first is a mistake. But I'm often wrong, and I don't like to disagree with Elon. But to me, bot should be there should be a beta program and send bot out to consumers, and there's probably 100,000 of us who would buy them, and we would pay $25,000 easy for this bot. And letting us run, once you're manufacturing the scale where you can make thousands of them, start selling them to people and let us use them in beta form and we'll train it. Give us the ability to expose it to different environments, and that experience gets filtered back to the home office. I don't think it makes sense to use it in the factories, but I've never worked in a factory. I was criticized for saying this. People said, Warren, you've never worked in a factory. It's true, I've never worked in a factory. I just think the factories are hyper efficient, and bringing these bots in is going to affect efficiency in a negative way. But we'll see. Thoroughly Ram, I'll just call it Ram. Thoroughly degenerate thermoplastic elastosexual says, did I hear correctly that they should have 7 exaflops under full load by Q1 2023? I think the first exapod, which is 1.1 exaflops, should be running by Q1 2023. And I don't remember if they were going to have 7 exapods by Q1 2023. I thought they were going to have the first one by Q1 2023. Maybe you're right, and they're going to have 7. And the exapods are like basically ridiculously powerful supercomputers. I think one of them is going to be focused on auto labeling, and then the others are going to be focused on FSD training and maybe bot training. And, they're going to move on from there. They're going to build more. And then ultimately, we're in a couple of years, we're going to see the next generation, and that's going to be mind-blowing. Okay, so let me move on to, and that was from the Locals platform. Uh-oh, what did I do? I think we're okay. I thought I closed something. Okay, we're good. So I wanted to talk next about so that was the Locals platform. You can support me on the Locals platform at warrenledlick.locals.com. You get early access to a lot of videos, and you get to submit questions in advance of the live stream. And then the same thing with Patreon, patreon.com/warrenredlick. Levine family says, I have a friend that lives in Seattle and swears that Tesla was on a corner near his house when they showed the autopilot left-hand turn, avoid the jaywalker with a dog. Oh, okay, so that was in the AIDA presentation. There was this section where the guy is showing how the car is deciding how to make a left turn when a pedestrian walks across the street with his dog and there's a car coming from the right. He's got to make a left turn in front of or wait behind it. Swears the test was on a corner near his house when they showed the autopilot left-hand turn, avoid the jaywalker with a dog. The friend went on to say that Washington State has a law that allows for people to cross the street anywhere, and that the Tesla made an illegal move. Could he be correct? I know they never said where the car was. So I think that Tesla cars, like humans, sometimes break traffic laws. Right? I'm sure that Levine family, Mr. Levine, has never committed the act, has never violated the speed limit. He's never rolled through a stop sign. They're gonna break some laws. We break laws. Humans break laws. The cars are gonna break laws. I don't think that that's a particularly big deal. Could he be correct? Sure. I don't know whether they said where the car was. I don't think it was very wise for the pedestrian to walk across the street with a dog, but I don't know. Brian Keck says, is Tesla going to have any specials on Cyber Monday? Unrelated, will Cyber Rodeo be annual? How are you doing? Let's see. I don't even know when Cyber Monday is. Is that this Monday? I don't know. I think it looks like this will be a special on Tesla stock on Monday. If with the delivery and production numbers down, I think, not down, but not as high as we expected, I think the stock's going to tank on Monday, and I'm buying. So, but I don't even know. Is Cyber Monday tomorrow? I don't even know. Unrelated, will Cyber Rodeo be annual? I don't think Cyber Rodeo will be annual, but I believe that Tesla will eventually build out a ecological paradise on the south side of the factory along and near the river. And they will probably let the general public use that. I don't think they're going to be bringing people into the factory on a regular basis. Tesla used to do factory tours at Fremont. Now they only do that on a limited basis for groups, I believe. It's just practically difficult to bring people into a factory. They're trying to get work done. And how am I doing? I think I'm doing really well. Exercising almost every day. I'm eating healthier. I still snack too much at night. I'm a happy person. I'm about to go on a road trip. I should let you guys know that. I'm going to go on a road trip in about 5 days. The Plaid Venture continues or resumes. I'm going to be going up to the Northeast. I'm going to be visiting Long Island, New York City, Brooklyn, and then New Hampshire. I've got family in New Hampshire. And then I'm going to be visiting my friends in Albany, New York. I'm going to be in Albany, New York for 2 or 3 days, I think. And then I'm going to drive back here. Might stop in West Virginia to interview somebody who's got a solar startup. So hopefully that gets set up and we can make something of that on the drive back. I'll try to make videos on the way up. I got new microphones to go with my phone. I'll have my laptop with me. I'm going to find ways to do that. I'll be live streaming from somewhere. What is that, October 9th? I don't know how I'm going to do that on October 9th. I'm probably not going to do the regular live stream on October 9th. We'll see. Maybe I'll do it on Saturday instead, the 8th, but even that's going to be hard. I might do it on the 10th. I haven't figured out how. There's probably no Sunday live next week. Just going to say that because I've got something that day at, I think, 3 p.m., and I got to be ready for it. Normally the live stream's at 1 p.m., and I don't see how I'm going to pull that off. So, but I'm doing great. I'm excited. I'm happy. Life is good. I just got I'm currently, this is temporary housing, nomad mode. This is sort of like nomad mode light, being in this space. Friend's house that I'm living in for a couple of months. Thank you, Amy and Randy. But I just agreed to a lease starting November 1st, and I'll probably be here and there for a little bit of the intervening time as I move over. But I've got a new place that's in Cape Canaveral, fairly close to Cherry Down Park, which is one of the places I like to watch launches from. So I'll be living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home for a year in Cape Canaveral. Probably going to have some launch parties with friends and all that's going to be great. So I'm really excited about the life. I have a great life. I'm in great shape. I'm in great cardiovascular shape. Today was cardio day at the gym, so I did 20 minutes on the bike, 20 minutes on the treadmill, 20 minutes on the bike. I ran for 5 minutes on that. I think I pushed myself harder on the exercise bike at the end than I normally do too. So doing well, good cardiovascular shape. Mostly eating right except for snacking at night. AI day was not good for my health. AI day was late and I was snacking big time during AI day. Melody says, if every Tesla, this is comedy, if every Tesla owner purchases the GM Bolt, will that help GM go out of business sooner? I'm 100% sure GM isn't making any money on those vehicles. I think that it wouldn't work because they're only producing enough to not lose too much money. So it's a good idea, but it's not going to happen. So, all right, I'm going to go to the chat Q&A, but again, in about an hour, I'm going to start up another live stream on the Daily Lie, warrenredlick.locals.com. I'm going to talk about criticism of AI Day and what the critics are getting wrong. And these are not like common sense skeptic or underfoot moron critics. These are actually people in the space who should know what they're talking about and are still getting it wrong. So we're going to go over that. Get you some fiber. I do eat a lot of vegetables, William. Aptera is the one. Yes, thank you, Real Futurist. Aptera is the one that went bankrupt and is back. I don't think Arcimoto ever went bankrupt. Let's see. Just looking here. I got FSD on my Plaid. It's the best one I can imagine. Tesla drops will get gulped by buyers. Take the day off and rest. No, I'm feeling great. Gogoro public battery swap stations will be even more insanely useful. These batteries can be used for bots or scooters. Any luck with the ladies? I don't think so. I don't know. I've spent a fair amount of time with one woman who I really like a lot. I don't know if that's going to be a romance or not. I've been on a couple of dates that, I don't know. Very hard to figure out. I got to figure out myself first, you know? Anyway, Mark, going for bonus from Warren for prompting like, share, subscribe posts. Let's see. There's no bonuses. Mark's just great help for this chat. Jim Manley says, Tesla bot won't be able to outwalk humans on purpose, so speed isn't an issue. I hope I don't wind up behind TBs at Tesla bots at checkout stands at stores. That's a good point. Tesla bot likely with battery swap. Will Tesla bot have battery swap? I don't think they're going to have battery swap. I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think the charging time will be small. Jambe, I think you're misunderstanding. So Jambe says the 2.3 kilowatt hour battery, plus or minus, will charge so quickly, faster than you make a cup of tea or coffee or mix your favorite beverages. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of how the chemistry works. Batteries have there's something called a C rate that you typically charge up a battery in, let's say, an hour. And if you charge the battery too fast, you degrade the battery chemistry. And it's not a larger battery you can charge takes longer to charge, and a smaller battery can charge quicker. It's true to some extent if you're charging from a 110 volt outlet, then a 2.3 kilowatt hour battery will charge faster than a 100 kilowatt hour battery because the 110 volt outlet just can't put out enough amps, enough energy to charge faster. But if you're at a supercharger, a 60 kilowatt hour pack and a 100 kilowatt hour pack charge about the same percentage over time. It's a battery chemistry issue. You can't charge a battery too fast. If you charge a battery in 10 minutes, you're going to wreck the battery chemistry. So they designed the battery so that they can't be charged too fast, the battery management system. Rob Markovich says, I have to imagine a significant amount of time prior to October 2020 where FSD beta was only tested within Tesla. Bot will do the same thing, internal use first. I agree that there's a period of time where bot needs to be internal. But my FSD beta was not that good when it was released to the public. Initially, when it was initially released in October 2020, it was pretty bad. And letting humans supervise it made sense. And the difference is bot is not dangerous to the public like a car is. If a car hits somebody, it's very dangerous. Bot is, much less weight, much lower speed. It doesn't have near the kinetic energy. It's not as likely to injure people. So I do think it's good. Jim Whitehead says, I can't move without movers stealing my power tools. It's happened twice this year. Tesla is probably worried a bot will be stolen the minute it leaves the factory. It will be. Of course it will be. But the robot's probably going to have like GPS and cameras and internet connectivity. So if you steal the bot, they're going to find you. If Cybertruck front wheels are driven, big treads on tires can provide steering and water. I don't know how they're going to make that work, and I don't know if they're serious. Red Rocket says Tesla's factory is the perfect place to test and train Optimus in a controlled and friendly place. It's no. Okay, I agree with that. It's a controlled and friendly place. I'm not sure how friendly it is. The problem is that the way you train machine learning is you expose your inference engine, you expose the subject to a wide variety of environments and channel that information back to the training computer so that the training computer can train the bot or the car on a wide variety of environments instead of like a narrow variety of environments. So I recognize there's some period of time where they have to keep it in-house, but once it's ready to do work in a factory, it's ready to go out and experience the world. That's again, Tesla team knows better than I do. I'm just shooting my mouth off. I'm completely unqualified to have these opinions. I'm just saying what I think, and my gut is if you want bot to learn faster, you got to expose it to a wide variety of environments and let idiots like me put it through its paces and places that you don't expect. Can HVAC on Cybertruck function in water? Sure, why not? Not underwater. I want to teach a Tesla bot to play catch. Okay, yeah, I mean that'd be interesting. That would be an interesting thing to do. Unswappable batteries a non-issue. If it proves to be a problem, they can just back the amount needed. If the truck floats, I just stick a couple of jet ski style thrusters on the undercarriage. Maybe. When can I get my Cybertruck? Cybertruck, if you ordered early, you should be able to get it middle of 2023. Thank you, Mark Plot. Elon Bits for the merchandise. T-shirts at elonbits.com. I also have the stainless steel water bottle. There's one with TSLA on it. There's one with Elon on it. elonbits.com for the merch. Remind me to take a drink. Thank you. Firefly bleep blue oranges to orbit. Yeah, so Firefly had a good launch. I didn't put that in my notes for today, but I was thinking about it, that Firefly is another private space startup that successfully did a launch to orbit. And I think there's another one. Is it Ad Astra? And what's the one that's out of New Zealand? There's a few private space startups that are doing well. It's good to see. John Bay says, Amazon drones dropping off packages. Hope it's a soft landing and you have a yard for them to drop your package. Not a good idea for sidewalk delivery. So Kathy Wood's Ark Invest, they did their big ideas thing where they talked about drone delivery. And drone delivery might actually be very efficient. And I'm pretty confident that they can even like land on your patio and just place it down and then fly away. I think there's a lot of potential for Amazon drones to work. Again, I don't know what the answer is going to be for the delivery space. I think there's a lot of different methods, and what's going to happen is somebody's going to take a Cybervan or Cybertruck or regular Tesla vehicle and have it make deliveries, and it's going to tell you to come outside and pick up your delivery. There's going to be another version where there's a bot in the car that walks out and puts it at your doorstep. There's going to be another version with drones. There's going to be a lot of different approaches to how do we deliver goods, and there might be 2 or 3 winners. It doesn't have to be only one. Mark Holland says, how are these bad numbers? 35% up quarter over quarter and 42% up year over year. It's stellar growth. Delivery numbers are irrelevant. Production's where it's at. It's bad numbers because it's below estimates. And although it's really good growth, the growth on the previous quarter doesn't really mean anything because the previous quarter was a down quarter. The growth year over year is significant and valuable, but it's not 50% growth year over year. So they're not hitting the numbers that we expected of them. And some of the people who are investing in Tesla were expecting better numbers, and they might sell stock as a result. I'm still a big believer long term that this is the big nut, and I'm going to be buying on Monday. Assuming that the stock tanks, I've been thinking about selling my Amazon and Google stock. I'm almost all Tesla anyway, but I have a chunk of Amazon and Google stock from an account I just got, and I'm thinking about selling it and maybe something else and buying more Tesla stock. Is Cybertruck going to float? Seems obviously a good idea. I believe Elon said it's going to float. We'll see. Why are people obsessed with the swappable battery pack? If you use a swappable battery pack, you have to have more batteries. Look, if the bot works, let's say the bot works 24 hours a day, which I don't think it will. I think it's going to work 16 hours a day. But let's suppose let's say the bot works 16 hours a day, works 2 shifts. So it starts in the morning and it works until the battery's low, and say 2 in the afternoon, it charges for half an hour. And then it finishes out the day at midnight. I'm making up the numbers, I don't know if 6 a.m. to midnight is 2 shifts. It's about right. And then it charges again from midnight to 6 a.m. So you lose like a half hour out of 16 hours. Is that really a big deal? I don't think that's a big deal. Placid Motors. There's some questions about Lucid. Arcimoto's facilities are long on looks and short on getting things done. Arcimoto's facilities are not that special. I was at the Arcimoto facility. It's not that special. It doesn't look that spectacular. If transportation, this is William, if transportation becomes largely obsolete due to successful Neuralink, that will free up enormous numbers of batteries. I don't think Neuralink makes transportation obsolete. I don't see that at all. How about a good old game of SC2? I'll destroy you. I don't even know what SC2 is. How can I play a game of SC2 without knowing what it is? Omar Cavazos wants to play a good old game of SC2. What is that? So many new companies don't succeed, any market or product. I do wish Arcimoto well and others, but expect the survival rate. Yeah, it's a tough economic times. It may be hard for people to raise money. Justin Bartley says we're going to get crushed in the markets with this Q3 product production and deliveries. Yeah, well, see, if I was selling, I would care, but I'm buying. So the stock going down for those of us who are looking for opportunities to buy cheap, I think the stock's going to tank, and I'm going to finally pull the trigger and sell some stuff so I can buy more stock. Tommy Z says, from now on, advances in the bot can also be applied to FSD and vice versa. Who can compete with Tesla? Yeah, that's true. It's very likely that some of the learning from bot training, from the bot side of AI, will defeat. Right now, it's the car FSD, the car Tesla Vision system that's feeding into bot. At some point, it may be that they learn something from bot, they're able to translate back to the cars. It's a good point. I don't even know what StarCraft 2 is. I'm so out of gaming. This is terrible. So Jura Dosti says they missed deliveries, but still will beat massively the EPS, the earnings per share estimation. I'm not so sure about that. If they don't deliver as many vehicles, then the revenue is not as high. I don't think they have to eat the cost of the vehicles that were produced but not delivered. I think that goes in cost of goods sold next quarter. But I do think that this is going to be less of a jump in earnings per share than I was expecting. I don't know what Wall Street has estimated for earnings per share, but I do think this is probably. And the other thing is, we don't know what they did on Megapack. Megapack could be a significant impact, and Powerwall, that could be a significant impact on revenues and profits. So we'll see that. Let's see. Bots don't pay union dues. True. John Bay says, I was impressed how many of the team members presented on stage. There's a thing called pucker factor. Have you ever been in a jet? I'm sure they were clinching a bit, but they did a fine job. They did great. Optimus is going to steal your girl. References to Boston Dynamics robot. I agree that the other robots don't compare. I'm going to be talking about that. That's going to come up when I talk about this on the Daily Lie at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Check out our warrenrutherford.locals.com. There's a link in the top of the chat, and there's a link in the video description below to the video that the next live stream at 2:30 p.m. Yeah, the other robotics ventures that are out there aren't taking advantage of what Tesla's doing with the FSD, with the Tesla Vision system, with real world AI, for lack of a better term. Elon once said a sex robot was inevitable. It wouldn't be built by them. At AI Day, he said others could build add-ons. Hint, hint. Yeah, okay. Marty Party says Elon's not kidding about the Cybertruck floating and traveling across the channel. Okay. Uh, the Optimus is great. However, one day I see an owner saying to it, pick up a gun and use it. I wonder what type of software coding will have to stop that. Yes, I've been watching Terminator. I don't know. I imagine that they'll use auto labeling so it knows what a gun is. And maybe it'll decide it won't pick up a gun. That's an interesting question. Moist Mitchell says the event really showed off Tesla's big brain engineering. No other company would even consider putting on a similar event. That's one of the funny things about the critics is like, why doesn't your company put on an event like this? The answer is because no one would watch. It was a recruiting event. It probably is going to boost recruiting, and that's what they need in order to get quality engineers in. R. Dotton says, oh, you guys can't see that. He says Sexbot will definitely happen. Elon talked about adding personality. What do you think people are going to do with that? I think that's kind of way down the road stuff, and I don't worry about that. I think the useful bot is the most important thing, and eventually will it have some kind of personality? I suppose so, but that's way down the road. Yeah, this is a point. Roed Jansen says, I'm not mad that I paid all that money for FSD. I support Tesla wearing whenever I can, but the difference between America and the European Union is, I think that's throwing up. One of the things I want people to understand is that Tesla has invested an outrageous amount of money equipping every car with the hardware and developing the software for full self-driving, and they probably are losing money on FSD all this way along. They're making money on the cars as a whole, but this investment in FSD has probably been reducing the earnings somewhat. Stainless steel water bottles and t-shirts at elonbits.com. They don't want open source the physical robot. It's dangerous as some bad actors might use it to build a killer soldier robot. Yeah, I don't think they're going to open source the bot, and I don't think they want to use it that way. Oh, here's Pokechu's question. With due respect, why do you hate Lucid? I hate the Lucid team, Peter Rawlinson and the rest of the team, because I think they've been lying to us since September 2020. I think they're dishonest. I don't like dishonesty. I want EVs to succeed. I think Rivian's going to succeed. I want Arcimoto to succeed. I want to see other EVs succeed. I think NIO is making progress, and some other Chinese companies are making progress, and Polestar, which is sort of Chinese. Lucid's a bunch of liars. That's my take on it. I think they're a bunch of liars. I think they constantly lie to the people about what they're doing. They're a pump and dump stock. They just keep pumping up the stock, and not good. Tesla makes Sexbot to use FSD to find objects. I will no longer need my wife. Okay, that's a little rude. I wish for AI Day was an amusement event with a Roadster rocket ride. Apparently they gave Plaid Model S rides. Yeah, William PMCD says, I will absolutely be impressed when Cyberbot can stand up after tripping or falling. They're working on making it so that when it falls, it doesn't damage itself. And yeah, they got to make it get back up again. I think that's a ways off, but we'll see. Yeah, Tesla's bot brain is decades ahead of Boston Dynamics and be able to deploy them in the real. Yeah, I think that's one of those things. Like, I'm going to be talking about that later. That the critics just don't understand this. The European Union just agreed to ration electricity in Europe this winter. Yep. All right, let's see. Let's go. I'm just going back to the chat, to the latest in the chat. Tesla on ship and boats are not paid in full until they're delivered or landed on destination, at least, right? So this will lead to earnings miss too. I don't think so. I think yes, it means that the revenue won't be as high because you don't count the revenue from the ones that weren't delivered yet. The revenue and profits are going to be based on deliveries, not on production. It does mean that Q4 is likely to be higher because they got an extra 20,000 vehicles to deliver that are hitting Q4 instead of Q3. So that it's sort of moving the deliveries later. Let's talk stock price predictions for tomorrow. What was the stock trading at? Stock was trading at 265. I think it goes below 250 tomorrow. That's my prediction. I don't know if anybody has predictions. Go ahead and fire away. Starlink helping hurricane-battered Florida regions. SpaceX is public. You just need lots of money to be an investor. Yeah, that's true. Might be tricky for bot to discern between homicide and protection of human owner. I don't think bot is going to have a protective role yet. I think that's so far down the road for bot to be murderous or protective or whatever. I think for now, bot is just going to be there. Going to do useful tasks, but not that. When will we see SpaceX go public? I don't think SpaceX, the company, goes public for a long time. I think Starlink will have an IPO spinoff of SpaceX late 2023, early 2024. That's a guess. I still laugh wondering where the charge for it is on the bot. They didn't say that. Good point. Will you sell your Tesla stock and go all in on the Starlink IPO? I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. It depends on what the Starlink IPO is priced at. It's very likely I will buy some Starlink stock when they IPO. I think Starlink is with, if the Starlink is priced at, $500 billion, then no. But if it's priced at $100 billion, then yes, I'll be buying some Starlink stock. But, you have to see what happens with Tesla stock at the time, which looks like a better investment. I can't make that call right now. Unswappable batteries aren't a big deal as long as optimists operate strictly in the vicinity of gigafactories, but become a fatal mistake as soon as this thing will be outdoor. I just don't know why people think this battery swap is such a good idea. It's not. It may be more effective to scroll to the top of chat to read them first. I play around with how to do the chat. No easy way. I like to do the stuff that's recent first. Traders may flip the script and pump it. You never know what's going to happen. That's true. Earnings will be huge. I don't know if earnings will be huge. I mean, I'm hoping for $1.30 a share now. I don't even know if we're gonna make $1.30 a share. We're gonna see. I haven't done the math in my head to see what the earnings, what's likely for earnings now. John Bay says it's just a car company. Elon laughed. I do think that Allset and Tesla signed an agreement to make homes, solar, power walls, and car included. Don't think the $10,000 price is reasonable. Allset, my opinion, Allset is a company that has not actually delivered on the things that they promised. As far as I'm aware, to the best of my knowledge, they haven't really done anything meaningful yet. If they have done something, correct me, but talk is cheap. Prototypes are easy, manufacturing is hard, doing something at scale is hard. As far as I know, they haven't delivered a home yet with Tesla products. We'll see. A lot of people cost average by spreading out purchases of Tesla and other stocks over a few months. In 2018, I bought just a few shares of Tesla a month, leftover money. Yeah, I mean, I'm not big on. I don't really believe in dollar cost. Not there's something wrong with dollar cost averaging. My attitude is when I have free cash, I buy Tesla stock. Declan, hi Declan. Declan says, did you notice Elon looks to be in great shape? He seems to be fitter and stronger. Maybe he's preparing to be able to outrun Tesla bots. He was asked about it on Twitter. I think Eva asked him what he's doing. And he said he's been doing intermittent fasting, I think, and taking some particular supplement or medication that's supposed to help. Arakanti, I'm so upset by this news. I just bought in last week. It's better than buying in at the peak. The peak was a while ago. Where are the impressive big robots doing half the work at Arcimoto? I think they don't know how to scale up like Tesla did for the Model S. Arcimoto isn't trying to scale like Tesla. They're going for ultimately 50,000 a year from their factory, which is much, much less than what Tesla does. And they may have some industrial robots. I'm not sure about that. I remember seeing they had some industrial equipment when I was there. Let's see. Why do I think the Tesla stock will tank on Monday? I think that the production and delivery number was lower than most of us expected, and the delivery numbers were lower than Wall Street estimates. So that would be, the stock doesn't go up when we see a beat. So my guess would be that it's going to tank. It's going to fall below $250 a share Monday morning. But we'll see. Let's see. Where are the current 4680s from Austin and Cato Road going? Semi stockpile. I think they're stockpiling them for semi and then later for Cybertruck. And they're probably testing them to some extent. Donald Leckfor, what did you say? As a Tesla investor, I like that Tesla's chosen to be mature and not spend gobs of profit trying to game the system, make end of quarter delivery numbers. This means lower actual costs. which means increased profits, and in the end, not playing Wall Street's games means that Tesla is a better company. Let the stock market have a temper tantrum and temporarily. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the good decision, and Elon has talked about this before. They don't want to play the delivery end of quarter delivery game, so they're not playing it anymore. And what you're going to see is that's going to shift into the fourth quarter and be really positive. All right, let's see. I'm going to wrap up soon. Check the AI video again. Security was noted as a feature of Tesla Bot. That's cybersecurity, not acting as a security guard. It's cybersecurity. It's being protected from hacking. So how or will the role of people change when functional bot is introduced and adopted? People will adapt. If you could ask Elon one question, what would it be? Oh, that's a tough one. Redlick eye surgery. I have thought about doing lens replacement surgery, but I'm not there yet. Which is the equivalent of like cataracts, but I don't have cataracts. So bot racing, that'd be fun. Little kids will soon brag my bot can beat up your bot. Dips and Tesla dip, maybe. Bot would be able to sit on a chair and yeah, if the bot is doing tasks that are it's staying in one place, then they might be able to charge it while it's doing this work. That's a possibility. What do I think about reports out of China media that Tesla is dropping prices in China significantly? I think that rumor has been rebutted. I think I just saw something the other day, maybe it was yesterday, that um, that the backlog, the time that you wait to get your vehicle delivered has gone back up because they started exporting vehicles out of China. So we got predictions. Tara says $265 on Friday. Oh, that was what it was on Friday. Mark Plot is predicting Tesla $240 a share. I think that's in the ballpark, Mark. We think alike sometimes. Melody just got home from Sunday chores. We'll have to rewatch. Thank you, Melody, for being here. Neuralink connected Tesla bot for quicker learning. Ryan Tanaka has a theory that Neuralink will eventually allow creation of an artificial brain, and you could put the artificial brain in a Tesla bot. Maybe you could upload your consciousness, put it on the artificial brain, and put it in a Tesla bot, and you could clone yourself in a sense. Gladiator bot fighting would be awesome. Hopefully, they're going to find more useful tasks for it than that. How will FSD handle snow and ice? You know, that flaky, heavy snow in the Northeast that will stick to and cover the cameras. Does anyone know? I believe that the cameras are hydrophilic, as in they repel water effectively. There are people driving FSD. People have been driving FSD beta in snow and ice for a while now. They did it last winter. They'll do it this winter. I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. Roofing bot will have to be able to lift more weight. I'm not sure about that. I think, if they get to the point of doing roofing, it'll have to be able to do whatever it has to do, I guess. Yeah. All right. So we've been going for an hour and 3 minutes, it looks like. I'm getting tired and I got another live stream. So I'm going to be doing a live stream on the Daily Lie. There's a link in the top of the chat, and there's a link in the video description below. I'm going to be doing a live stream talking about critics of, I'll give you a quick, let's see. I'll give you a quick preview of one of the, let's see. This is a quick preview of one of the articles I'm going to be going through. See if I can find that. So this is Gary Marcus, and he had this lengthy article criticizing Tesla bot in particular. And so I'm going to go through that, and I'm going to show what he's got wrong. There's this one particular bit that I clipped where he had like 5 specific points, and he's wrong on all 5 points. So I'm gonna cover that, and there's 2 other critics that I'm gonna be talking about. So please come back or go to the Daily Lie at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Supporters can participate in the chat and make comments, but anybody can watch. I think you might have to give your email address. I don't even think you have to give your email address. I think you can say, "Let me read it first," or something like that, and you can watch it. Please check out the t-shirts at elonbits.com. Check out my other videos. please consider supporting me on the Locals platform, Patreon, or as a YouTube channel member. You get early access to a lot of my videos if you support me on those platforms. You get to submit questions in advance for the Q&A on the Sunday Lives. No Sunday Live next week. I'm going to be traveling, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to do Sunday Live next week. If I'm able to do something, I'll do it, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to do it next week. Maybe Monday next week. We'll see. So anyway, thank you very much for watching.